And we're live. Welcome to podcast number 2 for Neptune Beach, Atlantic Beach residents. And JT, we've met for about, has that been a year? It's been over a year.
Almost 2 years.
All right. And here's a guy who's been in the restaurant industry. He's been in the military. He's now moving houses.
Real estate broker for 25 years.
25 years.
Yes.
And I wanted you to talk a little bit about what brought you to Atlantic Beach, or Neptune Beach, I should say, because you are living in Neptune Beach right now.
Neptune Beach, yes. Right. First Street is where I live and love.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong on First Street. That's the way I see it.
Can't get any closer than that.
Well, you can get 2 houses over and then you'd be on the beach.
You are on the edge of the continent, my friend.
Yes.
On the edge of the continent.
Yes. What a place to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Life couldn't be any better, I don't suppose. How I got here is such a complicated story. I won't bore the world with that story. I ended up getting divorced and moving down here, actually moving for my brother. He wanted to live at the beach, and he had been ill for a year. He'd had a lot of heart issues.
Is he older than you?
Younger than me, 63 years old. And so he wanted to live at the beach. And so once I realized I was getting a divorce, and in 2016 he had a really rough year, almost died in May. And so I came down and I had already opened an office in Jacksonville, but I was not planning on moving to Jacksonville. That's another long story. But anyway, so I moved here in October 2016, rented a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house with the idea he was going to move down with me. And he had open heart surgery in November and died during surgery. So that tragedy is what got me here, but it was meant to be. I mean, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Where you need to be.
It's where I look.
Therapy of the beach.
Yes.
I noticed that in the mornings you've been taking some walks and taking some photos of the sunrises.
Yes. I'm getting into. I can't believe it took me almost 2 years to walk 100 yards, if that far, to the beach to take pictures of the sunrise. But I've started doing that in the last 2 months, and oh my gosh, what a way to start a day.
It's an appreciated too. When you post it on Facebook, people appreciate it.
Well,
I know from my experience.
Yeah, because you used to post a lot of those pictures.
Almost 4 solid years I posted.
Yes.
Sunrise pictures,
Yeah, it does something to your soul. I don't know what it is. You get up and here it comes, and you say, "Oh my God!"
It sets the tone for the day.
Yeah, it does.
You know, and nobody knows this until you live in close proximity to a large body of water like that. There's something about being next to that beast, that mama ocean, right? Like where we, in our DNA, if you go back far enough, right, we come from the sea.
Well, what are we, 98% water or something like that?
It's that high, I think.
96 or 98, something crazy. And the rest is liquor. I'm joking. It's liquid too, right? We're all liquid. We're in a liquid form, just flowing through this earth.
Yeah, your place is, I love your place, man. And you got the quintessential bachelor pad.
Yeah.
And I know you've been dating here and there.
Here and there.
Yeah. You don't want to talk about that?
Not too much.
I told you this wasn't a gotcha.
No, I'm finding the people here, men and women, but women, there are really a lot of beautiful ladies who live at the beach. Yeah. A lot of beautiful, of all ages. You know,
John, in the podcast right before this one, we talked a lot about the sense of community out here.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you feel it already, right? Just how quickly you're embraced.
Oh, yes.
And just how warm the people are. And in my experience, I've made some deep, meaningful relationships in the short time that I've been here since 2014.
The crazy thing to me is I've met many different groups of people. I say many, at least a few different groups of people. And most of them have been here all their lives. And so I'm in a group of people, maybe there's 20 people, and they each have known each other for 30 years. So it just flatters me to no end that they include me in their community.
Right.
That I'm just a new person, and I feel like I just was meant to be there. And like I don't know, it's a really, really very friendly, open community that really reaches out to each other. That's what I like so much about it. I feel like I've gone back to the 50s with the way people, what I see on First Street, skateboards, bicycles with babies in the baskets and attachments to it. Everything you can imagine is on First Street.
Well, you have the beach and the ocean that they bring people out of their homes, you know.
Oh yeah.
And they put you on your bicycle.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was living in town, I probably wouldn't be perched on the end of my beach cruiser going down the street after work.
Yes.
And when the ocean's right there, there's a motivation, you know.
Yes.
I know you feel it, man, since you've gotten here.
It draws you. It draws you. Yeah. And tomorrow I'm going. Here I've been here 2 years. Well, everybody now knows about Pete's, of course. I have to go there because that's Thanksgiving. Tomorrow morning.
This is Thanksgiving Eve.
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Right?
And then I'm going by 2 other friends' houses during the day to have a snack or an adult beverage. Tim's house.
I'll be there.
John's house.
Right.
And then I'm having dinner with my next door neighbor.
Tim Ingram, John May. Right.
Yes, Tim Ingram, John May. And I'm having dinner with Ann and Elliot. And I've been here 3 years and they've invited me all 3 years. So I feel like I'm really becoming a part of their family. I mean, they are very gracious and very inviting, and the food is always to die for. So anyway, it's just, I feel like I made a lot of friends here.
Is Elliot a former boxer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought I'd heard that in certain circles.
And a rugby player too.
Really?
Rugby player, yeah. He goes to the same gym that I do, and he does all the boxing in the gym that I'm at. But I don't do the boxing. He just tears that thing up.
Dude, I love that you're 7 years old and you're still going to the gym.
Oh yeah,
Can I say that?
Oh yes, yeah.
I know.
3 days a week, I live for it. I mean, I wouldn't call myself a gym rat by any means, but it's so important to stay as strong as you can. You know, because this is the only.
Health as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's another thing about living out here is I think people tend to be a little more health conscious.
Oh
not
yeah.
Much. I mean, not everyone, but you know.
No, I think in general you're right. Yeah. Yeah.
I think you know, I know myself. You know, you just want to stay in shape so you can enjoy the beach and enjoy life in general. And you know, Liliana tells me sometimes I'm too tired for the gym after work.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can rationalize it all day not going.
Right.
You know, it's very easy to rationalize not going, but you know what? Just put that aside and get it done.
I go first thing in the morning. That's the only way I can do it.
Really?
I go at 8 in the morning.
That's good though. That's really the best time, I think.
For me,
it is. Way. And then you know when you relax, you know you've earned it. You can.
Yeah.
You've earned the right to relax, so you can do it guilt free.
And the one thing I like about the beach is there just are so many things to do, so many restaurants to eat at. I mean, they're
What are some of your favorites?
Well, I think Mesa is probably my favorite restaurant.
Is it? Really?
Yes. Oh, yes. I mean, if you want a really nice meal, it's very good. And it's right there. You drive by and you forget about how nice it is. And then also Ragtime is sort of one everybody here, I think all my buddies go to Ragtime for happy hour, hang out and have drinks.
Yeah.
And I like Ocean 60 a lot too. And I go, sometimes I go to Flying Iguana, but not that much. It's I like it. It's a nice place. And Coops, I've been to Coops. It's cool. There are just so many choices. But my favorites probably are.
What do you think of Southern Grounds?
Oh no, I forgot. I don't think about Southern Grounds as a restaurant.
Oh yeah. I'm just asking your favorite establishment.
No, but I do really like Southern Grounds. Southern Grounds is cool for breakfast, have a coffee, and a light breakfast, and it's also very nice in the courtyard when they have music. And to me, it's one of the most beautiful places at the beach at Christmas, because they line those trees with lights and they have a beautiful tree back in it. The courtyard is a secret, I promise you. You've played there before. I heard you play there. Yeah, it's a great place.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, I forget about Southern Grounds too much. I mean, unless somebody's playing there. Or
I like to go there. I mean, as opposed to the Starbucks on the corner there, you know, it's a mom and pop place kind of. It's more for us. And I was just reading today that Neptune Beach has 7,000 people. And Atlantic Beach just over 13,000.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I was bringing this up because I mentioned to John that you know it's all one area.
Yes.
And I was mentioning to him maybe it should all be called Atlantic Beach, and he quickly countered and said it should be called Neptune Beach.
Right. I like the differentiation between the two because I see a differentiation between the two.
Okay.
I see a lot more families. I mean, there are a lot of families at Granite Beach too, but it reminds me of New England. You know, those houses are just majestic, even though some of them are old, but I mean, they're just majestic, I think. And Neptune Beach is more of a family, a lot of quadruplexes and that kind of thing. And that's where you see the kids out playing in the street like we did. And I watch these little 13, 14-year-old boys popping wheelies on bicycles. And I'm like, yeah, they're having so much fun.
And recently you went back up to Atlanta. Was that right?
I went to.
I saw you in the traffic in Atlanta.
Yes, I went last weekend to a wedding. My nephew got married in Rome, Georgia, at Berry College, the college that I graduated from. Okay. So the chapel that I'm very, very familiar with. So it was really nice. I got to see my brother and sister and lots of family members that I haven't seen in a while. You know, little nieces and nephews. I say little, they're all grown now, but it was a fantastic trip. Up on Friday, back on Sunday, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
It was nice. Yeah.
Nice.
It's nice to be going to a wedding instead of a funeral at this age. You know what I mean? I tried to avoid the funerals. I like the weddings the best.
And you attended our wedding not too long ago.
Oh yes.
Right?
Oh yeah. Well, that was. Oh yeah. It was fantastic at Casa Marina. What a beautiful wedding. What a beautiful venue to have a wedding.
And your wedding gift was much appreciated.
Oh, thank you.
We should
glad you liked it. No, we will not. But I'm glad you liked it, and as well as others. Yeah.
We danced the night away, right?
Oh yeah. And I didn't say
Casa Marina, isn't that? Yeah, I think that's more Jack's Beach.
It is Jack's Beach,
right.
but I didn't mention that place. That was one of my favorite places too. It has a lot of ambiance,
right.
Especially the courtyard. You know, they have good music there.
Is very nice.
And I like the. It's one of the few places that you can see. I think on the ocean you can see the pier, so it's beautiful view. Right. Yeah, it's cool. I like Casa, and I
didn't. A nice bar up top there too. I mean, we've been to that.
That's the one I'm talking about. The one where you can go outside and see the beach, and I like Lemon Bar too. I don't go there as often because it's much younger people there, but sometimes if you have guests, you just have to show them every place. And we haven't even mentioned Pete's Bar.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's cash only.
Cash only, yeah. I figured that out one day when I went in there. Cash only, no food, smoking, pool tables.
It's brutal, baby. It's a motorcycle.
It's when you gotta have a good bourbon when you go in there. Yeah, but it's a cool place though. 80 years, been 80 years, huh?
I wonder if you can get away with a cigar in there.
Yeah, I bet you can. Yeah. I don't think they would care at all.
Because they got the cigar car, the Island Cigar.
Oh yes, see,
across the street.
And that's another little special place. I mean, I don't smoke cigars, but I went in there once with someone, and it's so well ventilated that you don't, even if you're not a smoker, it doesn't bother you.
I need to go in there and have a smoke. Because
I'll go there with you one night. Have a bourbon.
One inside that establishment.
Okay, I'm going to invite you to go with me.
All right. Maybe we can get that done over these next 4 days.
We can go tonight if you want to.
We might just do that. I can be talking tonight.
It's not far. Everything's close. That's what I love about here. Everything is so close. I'm early for everything.
Remind me to ask you about Ed's cat for a minute, but Ed Rob's cat.
Yes, I know.
But before that, I want to talk a little bit about some Atlantic Beach news, and that I mentioned it to John, and recently I saw some more articles about it. It's about the coyote issue.
Where someone shot the coyote with a...
Well, I found out that was not true.
Well, I know, and I figured out most of the things on Facebook's not true. I got my nieces and nephews reprimanding me this weekend. They said, "Uncle JT, don't post anything, okay?" And I said, "Okay," because you don't know what's true. Yes. And you make a comment, you like something, dislike something, and you find out it was both.
Right.
So I'm not saying anything about anything anymore.
The coyote. I mean, there have been photographs of coyotes out there. I've seen them.
Yeah.
But it's seldom you'll run into somebody that has seen one personally.
Right.
And I have noticed that there's an influx of kitty cat missing signs.
Right.
Around the neighborhood.
Right. So they love kitty cats. They're like, "Oh, hey, honey, you want a cat? I'll get your cat back to dinner tonight.
Yeah.
What color you want?"
Right.
Yeah,
So people have been bringing in their cats.
Well, I'm not surprised that coyotes are here, even though I've never seen any. I saw a coyote in the neighborhood I moved from North Georgia, and it was a big coyote, and it was a dark-colored coyote, which is very unusual. It was grayish black, you know, a combination of the two.
Yeah.
It was just standing there. And then I saw one once on I-20 when I got off the interstate. Just got off, and there was one in pretty close to a very populated area in Georgia. But I haven't seen any here. But I know that they're everywhere, and they eat the pets. I mean, that's what they eat if they can. And they will take a big dog too. They work in packs.
Right.
They'll just.
You see, typically, I think, I've heard that from my understanding, they work in packs. But the ones that, from what I hear around, from in certain circles, they've only seen one at a time.
They don't run in packs. They work in packs. So they'll be hunting, and if they find something, now that's what they do in the wild. And I can tell you that little incident happened in my house in the mountains, a big canoe. But they will, if they see a big dog, they'll go and harass the big dog and bark at it and charge at it and run away from it and try to get him to chase them off. And then if he chases them off, it's all over. The rest are waiting. Hey, dude, glad you could show up. We're having a party. You're the special guest.
Would you join us for dinner?
Yeah, would you please?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's their little tactic. But they usually you don't see them in packs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. And the only other thing I saw was that there was the occasional person went off with an Amazon package or something like that. But otherwise, the community's been pretty settled and not very newsworthy, except the gate gas station and stuff like that coming in.
Yeah, we don't have much crime here. I don't think. If we do, we don't know about it.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
You see an occasional drunk person get rowdy and scream and yell and stuff like that, but they just had too much fun, But I've never had anything stolen. But they say you make sure you lock your bicycles up and this kind of stuff. But for the most part, I mean, Neptune Beach Police and I'm sure the Atlantic Beach Police, they patrol all the time, and those guys are on their toes.
I don't really see them in my neighborhood, like coming around here out front.
Yeah. I
don't ever see them, like very rare, extremely rare. But I wish I would see them more often. I think that would be really nice.
Yeah.
Because my car's been broken into a couple of times.
Really? Well, maybe that's Atlantic Beach, right?
Well, yeah.
It's two different police departments, right? Or not?
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll look into that.
I think so.
I'll look into that.
Yeah, so I don't know what their issue is, but I know that I see them in front of my house all the time. If I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
You're also closer to Jack's Beach, where I think is a little bit more sketchy.
Well, it's a little more vigorous down there, I mean? It's a younger group of people,
Yeah.
Remember when you were much younger?
Yeah, I guess it gets younger as you get to Jack's. And then
it changes. But, I mean, there's
you go to the south, you got Ponte Beach, it gets older.
Yeah.
To the north, you got Atlantic Beach, again, it gets older.
Yeah. I met some people last night who live in Ponte Beach, Jack's Beach. It was 3 ladies who were at Ocean 60, and they were young in their early 20s, and they would show me their pictures of their friend. It was about 20 or 30 girls that hang around together, all really cute, girls. And anyway, they would tell them what they paid for rent, and they pay the same rent at Jack's Beach that I do at Neptune Beach. I thought Neptune Beach would be a lot more expensive than Jack's Beach. Yeah. But that's just where that age group wants to live, because I don't know if there's more to do.
And Roger Weeder's daughter just moved.
They're down that way. That's where they're going to live, Like in Atlanta, they moved to Midtown. They all live in Midtown, the young kids do. Right. They like the congestion. And
it's hard for me to face the fact of having to move further away from the ocean, if I want to buy a place, because I just love the community so much.
I know.
It's going to be a tough sell. I don't know if it'll happen.
Yeah, I don't think it will. I think maybe wait a couple of years, Maybe find a.
I'm going to, because right now, the market is
right. And find a place that suits you a little better and to rent, even though you might pay a little bit more,
Excellent point. I think that's good.
I saw a place today. I'll tell you about later.
Okay. So you've also Tim Ingram. You live close by to him.
Yes.
I'd like to get him on one day, because he's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
Like some things, right? I mean.
Yeah. He's a good talker. He's really.
Now, what's his formal title? Is he a psychoanalyst or?
I don't know. Same as John's. What was John?
Is it John?
Yeah.
The same?
Yeah. I think it's the same.
Right.
I think it's the same. But yeah, he's about to retire soon. But he's a very interesting person to talk to.
He is.
Tim, and his wife Peg too. She's a brilliant artist. I mean, she can make anything. Pick up glass on the street and make something out that you want to pick.
Now you went to Olson's
recently.
Yeah, party. Was that the Halloween party?
No, I missed the Halloween party. I went to that Georgia Florida game.
Now, how do you know her?
I knew her. I met her through Tim and Peg.
Okay. That's how we met her.
Yes. Yeah.
Through Tim and Peg. I think it was on Thanksgiving last year.
Not really. They're the artist group, you know, and Linda also is an amazing. She's a painter, an amazing painter. She does other stuff too, but she also is a photographer. So I had her do some headshots for her. I'm going to make a new business card. So I asked her if she could make me pretty, and she tried. didn't
I don't know, man.
It did work. She said
could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. She said she was an artist, not a magician. Yeah.
Good one.
But she's good though.
So when you go to the beach, do you go swimming in the ocean?
Not very often.
But you do.
No, I've probably been in since I've been here maybe 4 times. Okay. Because I'm not really sure about what's out there. Yeah, I'm from the North Georgia mountains.
Nobody is, JT, but you put those thoughts, you stuff them into a bottle and you seal it up. You know.
I'll go out there with you one day. I'd like to go out with somebody.
Okay.
If I want to go out there.
Yeah, I go swim every time I go to the beach.
I don't know how far out is it. Far enough out. You know, I don't know that part about it. How far do you go out?
I go out to where to it's back. So
okay.
Maybe chance.
Yeah. Okay. So see, I didn't know you had to
swim. You know.
Yeah, I like to swim too. Actually.
But and I'll go out further if someone's there. I'll go out further if they want to, push the envelope a little bit. But I know Hank.
Hank's a surfer.
Right.
Yeah, he goes out there pretty far.
Leslie Robbins, I think his last name.
I don't know. Hank's
I think he's a surfer. He plays in that band.
Yeah.
Fish Out of Water.
Fish Out of Water.
And they play Southern Grounds, right?
Yeah. They played last night.
He's the one who gets me the gigs at Southern Grounds.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he books the gigs. And then one night you guys came to my house. You and Hank and my friend Deborah Osgood was down here.
She and I are friendly on Facebook.
Yeah.
And we've been exchanging ideas and songs, and we were even discussing writing a song together.
Wow.
Yeah. Like a blues number. When she came over to Ed's that night.
Yeah, you started with
My Heart Needs a Jailbreak or something like that. What was the lyric?
I don't know. I thought I'd be really good at adding a verse because I like to write poetry, but I just got stuck. I couldn't come up with anything.
Well, I think we were all jumping in so fast.
Yeah.
But I think it's in you, dude. I know it's in you.
Well, we'll see about that. You just don't want me to sing. We'll see about that too. But anyway, so Deb Osgood she's written some pretty cool songs already, and her voice is very unique. And the lady who lives behind me across the way works at Mayo. She's in charge of the department that I'm working in. Mm-hmm. And she said, I heard you. So I saw her Monday because it was my first day to work as a volunteer at Mayo. It was Monday afternoon. And so anyway, she's head of the department. So I said hello to her. And she said, I heard when you had your friends over playing the music.
Oh.
And I said, well, you should have come over. But, there was hardly a room on the porch anyway, but I should have invited more people. But it was a lot of fun.
Well, that was the first time I met Hank's wife.
That's not his wife.
Oh, who was that?
His girlfriend.
Oh, I thought that was his wife.
No, they're not married.
Oh.
No.
She had a voice.
Oh, she has a beautiful voice. Landis. Yeah, she's a sweetheart. She's really nice. Okay. Yeah. And Hank too, and he's just a gentle spirit.
He's a sweet guy.
Yeah.
He takes, we've been in the same circles quite often, but he's been a little difficult to get to know, but I think we're starting to get there,
He's quiet, but he's
I
solid.
like him a lot though. And the more I find out about him, the more I like him.
Yeah.
But that's not unlike a lot of people around here. That's one of the reasons, I like
Yeah.
I think when you live at the beach, that begins to seep into your DNA, man. You get out there and you can't just help but feel the gratitude for the warmth of the sun and the ocean and the sound and that eternal sound of the waves beating on the beach that has gone on for millions of years and will go on for millions of years.
Right.
It's so eternal. You can't help but have like a commune with that environment,
Yeah.
And that's why it's been such a revelation for me personally, as I know it has for you, coming from Georgia and living in, outside of miles away from the ocean.
Right.
And once you get here, it it changes your perspective in such a way I don't know if you can really go back and be satisfied. Is that possible?
Well, not for me. I don't think it's possible. And I never wanted to live in the ocean. I lived in a beautiful place in the North Georgia mountains. I mean, I lived in as pretty a place as
Tell
you
me
could
about
live.
that place.
It's a neighborhood. It's,
you talking about that big house that you?
Private. It was a private neighborhood, gated community. It's called Big Canoe. It's up north central Georgia, where the Appalachian Trail starts. So it's the most mountainous part of Georgia. So in there is 2,500, 3,000 feet above sea level, 7 mountains in the community, 3 lakes, and we had.
How close were you to the lake?
I went by the lake every day.
Okay.
I wasn't out on the lake. I had what they call an interior mountain view. So from my deck, I saw another mountain range, and some had the long range mountain views, and some had the lake views, and so they had different types of views, and I ended up with one of those. And it was pretty cool. But anyway,
nice, though.
There are no yards. I mean, there are no lawns. They don't have grass, so you can't have a lawnmower grass. Everything's natural with trees and you know. So it's and the houses have to be painted. Can you play
frisbee? I mean, is there enough room for that type of thing, or is it just all trees?
Well, it's very hilly, so you know somebody's gonna be running uphill to catch a frisbee. But we did have a playground below the dam, a playground track. We call it the ball field. A track that went around it. So if you were going to want to do something like that, you'd go down there and play. Right. And people were always down there playing, and they had concerts there all the time. And in the lake had pontoon boats that had electric motors because they wouldn't. It's a mountain, 120-foot deep mountain lake. So streams feeding the lake. Trout fish, they fill it with trout. If you were going to catch a trout, it was going to be like 2 pounds or 3 pounds. That was going to be it. But anyway, it was a beautiful mountain community and a lot of really good fitness, fantastic fitness center, tennis facilities, clubhouse, and they had a lot of people that played music in there too, but not as much as you know all the musicians pretty quickly, but they had a sort of, and that's what Deborah was involved with. They've sort of grown their guild, if that's what you call it. I don't know what you call it, but a group of people.
Why did Deborah come visit you?
Deborah and her husband Brian are friends of mine in Big Canoe. And so we were all in one little section of Big Canoe, and there was about 10 families or couples that got together, and it was called a cocktail club, I think, Martini Club or something. We met once a month, and so they became good friends. And she likes to come down to the ocean once a year. A lot of times they go to St. Augustine with her sister and with her sister-in-law. They go away one time a year, and I'm trying to get she and Brian to move here. So I said, why don't you stay here this next time? Let me show you around, introduce you to my friends. And now I think they're leaning towards coming here. And they're going to both come down next time. Brian will come with us this next time, and they'll stay maybe 3 months.
Yeah. Now Brian, I'm not sure if that was, did you see what she posted on my Facebook page with the Lou Reed album, when she was listening to the Lou Reed album?
No, I didn't see
I didn't know if that picture was Brian, because he was holding the album cover.
It might be.
Okay.
He's really into music too.
Is he? So maybe it was him. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he plays and sings, but he's probably met a lot of these. I don't know, some of the biggest singers. You know, all the concerts he has pictures of himself at all these concerts. You know, all of them. So he likes music a lot, and he's a photographer.
Did you see the Rolling Stones with him?
I saw that. You going?
I don't know. We'll see.
It's going to be at the stadium, right?
Yeah.
I might want to go.
Do you like the Stones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who
does? A lot of good songs, right?
Yeah.
Painted Black.
Yeah.
Mother's Little Helper.
You probably remember all the more songs than I do,
Satisfaction.
Yes, of course that one.
Wild Horses.
Yes, I know that. Oh, see, I knew
one. Me Out.
Yeah.
Brown Sugar.
Yeah. No, I do. See, I just.
Yeah, there's so many.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, you know a lot of this. Yeah, I wouldn't have named all those, but yeah, when you named them, I remember.
They were just coming to me just now.
Yeah.
Can't always get what we want.
Can't always get what you want.
Concert tickets today are so expensive, though. It's unbelievable to me, JT.
Yeah.
I was looking at the price of Kenny Chesney, all these guys that are coming to town.
How much?
Kenny it's just like the Stones, man. It was $200 to $800.
Yeah.
Stones are up to $1,100.
Oh, that's crazy. No, I don't think I'll go to the Stones. I wouldn't want to pay
Liliana might get free tickets, in which case I'll go.
Yeah, in that case.
It's no brainer.
Yeah, I think that, yeah.
Right. It's on a Wednesday night, so
it wouldn't matter. Oh, yeah.
You remember those?
Yes.
I know you're still working.
I'm still working a little bit, not too much.
I like what you do, though, man. The hours are few, and you kind of dictate your own hours, right?
Right. Well, I just get up and go to work. I get up and go to my computer and see what needs to be done. Email, text people, and answer the phone during the day, and just handle the floor.
Well, I know. Hey, I did not to pump you up or anything, but I had a deep appreciation for your opinion on when I was selling my house. You know what I mean? And I had another realtor, Frank Woodley.
Yep.
I guess he lives in Jackson Beach. That would be right.
I've never been to his house.
Okay. It's a little south of stuff. So I'm sure it's Jackson Beach, but he helped me sell the house, but really bumping some ideas off of you. And I remember thinking that you had some really great ideas.
Well, I've been doing it a long time, 25 years. Yeah. And I had the big office in Atlanta with 95 agents. I did a lot of training, and I enjoyed that part of it as well too. But it's just something that I really like to do. I love it, and it seems natural now for me. Been doing it a long time.
And then you had a restaurant before that.
I owned a restaurant in Big Canoe.
What was the name of that restaurant?
Wild Onion Grill. Wild Onion Grill. Rustic fine dining, we call it. It was a really cool restaurant.
How long did that go?
2 years.
Okay.
2 years. It was. I'm very happy and pleased with what we produced. You know what I mean? A fantastic ambiance, good, fantastic food, great service. But I never could figure out how to make money doing it. So I was like, man, this is a lot of work. I thought I was going to make a lot more money than this. Yeah. So anyway, it wasn't for me. My hat's off to anybody who runs a restaurant. You know, I love real estate. It's easier, a lot easier.
Now I was going to ask you a little bit about the military. Like, I don't know what your position was or what, because you went through some basic. Did you tell me about? I'm fascinated with military. I'm going to have Ed Robb hopefully on the podcast at some point. Yeah. And I know he's got a hell of a story.
Oh, he
went over to Vietnam.
He was in Vietnam. I was in during the Vietnam War, but I managed to not go to Vietnam. I ended up in Germany instead. So I trained at basic training in Columbus, Georgia, and then I went into advanced infantry training. They I don't know how they sorted this out, but I'm sure somebody who knows a lot more about this than I do. I have ideas, but anyway, so then I went to advanced infantry, and then out of my group of the advanced infantry guys, they took 5 guys aside and trained us to be LERPs, and it was a new they didn't call it special forces, but it became a new branch of the special forces, and it was new to Vietnam. They were just experimenting. So they would land people behind this. I learned all this later. I didn't know any of this stuff at the time. So they land you behind the enemy lines. You come in and rappel out of a helicopter, or they land and let you out, or you get behind the enemy line and you ambush the enemy and get information, try to get maps and ideas, and then later they were actually extracting them. They were taking them out with them. But the problem was the life expectancy was 3 weeks for alert. I mean, it was just like you were probably not going to make it back. And anyway, I got unlucky or lucky. And during the training, I ruptured a disc in my back. And so they took me out of alert, and that kept me from having to go to Vietnam. And I ended up in intelligence, without telling the rest of the long story, in Germany. But none of the guys, only one of the guys made it back that I went with. And he was on the plane with me coming back from. They take the injured from Vietnam. They took them to Germany, Wiesbaden, or I think it was Wiesbaden. I'm not sure if that was a big major a medical facility there that they would stay until they got rehab. They wouldn't bring them home looking the way a lot of them looked, you know. Yeah. Anyway, so he was on the plane back with me, but I got really lucky.
What did you do between the time you got back and then you went to the restaurant business? Like there was.
Oh yeah, this. Let's see, what did I do? Oh. Stuff. I did a lot of stuff. No, I had several different businesses. I came back from the military, and I went back and finished college. I went back to Berry and finished Berry. Graduated, took a job in accounting with what is now Shaw's Industry. I lasted 3 months. Like, oh my God, I'm not the kind of person that should ever be in a room all day with no window. It's just not. I mean, that's if I went to jail, I'd probably just crawl up in the corner. You know, I'd never make it. But anyway, so I didn't like that, and that was my degree in accounting. So I came down, and my roommate from college said, "Why don't you become a fireman?" He said, I'm a fireman. He says, 24 hours on, 48 off, and you can start your own little accounting business. I said, well, okay. Because I had done that before. It's long story short, but before I went in the military, I was a fireman for about 6 months. So I became a fireman again, and that in the city of Atlanta. And it was fun because you're young, and every time the alarm goes off, you just get all jacked, man. I mean, you got to be on that thing. You have to do it in 3 seconds. It's amazing. And the cold, it was just fun, just an adrenaline high at that age. Anyway, I end up the disc that I hurt when I was in the military that they just gave me traction for. I hurt it badly in a fire, and so I had to have a surgery. And then I quit being a fireman. And then I ended up moving into, I kind of ended up getting into the drapery business. Because friends of mine, the 2 fireman friends of mine they were doing drapery installations as a part-time thing, making all kinds of money doing this. And since I don't think anybody's going to hear this, they owned a house that, they up on the lake that not everybody knew they had this house on the lake. You know what I mean? They were both married. I was single. I was single. So everything was all good. I was all legit. But anyway, so I said, let me look at your books. And did you do your taxes last year? And they said no. So I was looking, sorting through. And I said, oh my God, these guys are making a killing in this business. So I learned about the business, and I got involved and grew it to a really big business. We'd do drapery installations and design for a lot of work with the top designers in Atlanta, and then we had the 4 box stores. We had Sears and Penny's, and that time it was called Macy's, and it was Davidson's or Macy's, and then Rich's. So we had the 4 box stores which made and sold draperies, and then we had the top designers in Atlanta too. And it was just full time, packed out. It just couldn't keep up with it. It was so much. So I said, well, you guys need to quit your jobs as firemen. And they didn't want to quit the job as firemen. So I said, okay, you take this box store, you take this one, I'll take these 2 box stores, and I'll take these other people. We'll see you later. And they were all cool. I mean, they were happy, but it all worked out. We're still friends, all of us today. So anyway, but I can't sit still. So I progressed from doing the installations to started making draperies, and I started doing a lot with design too. I started designing draperies for helping this one company that did it for restaurants. And they did one in Savannah, and they won a national award for the draper treatments, but I didn't get credit because it was their company, and I wasn't supposed to get credit. I was helping them. But anyway, so that was kind of the artistic part of it. And then I started making them for hospitals and hotels, and I started with Charter Medical. And so I did that all together for maybe 20 years, something like that. And then the ladies who were making my draperies, they decided we had paid them piecemeal, so they controlled the labor, and they did a fantastic job. They were like, we had no management required. I mean, they just did a fantastic job. So anyway, Mrs. Moats. So when they retired, I decided, well, things were changing. Blinds were going into business. A lot of these hotels and big office complexes used to have draperies, and now they were changing to blinds. So I shut down the drapery part of the business and went into the blind business. And I changed my name from Cambridge Draperies to Buckhead Blinds. So I had this commercial Venetian blind company for 17 years. And then when that stopped, when they started importing blinds from Taiwan, you get 2 for $1 if you buy a Starbucks coffee. I'm just kidding. There was no money. There was no more money to be made. My client list was unbelievable, but there was just no money. So anyway, then my neighbor said, hey, we always talk about houses. Why don't you, he was a professor at one of the colleges. He said, why don't you, because he bought houses and remodeled them. And so he said, why don't you think about real estate? So he put it in my head, and I got my license and started off right away. And it worked really well for me. I really, really liked it. I worked a lot of hours, but it was it's a good business. It's a fun business too. You're helping people make the decision with the largest item they're ever going to purchase or sell. And it's just it ought to be smooth. It ought to be, you ought to find a way to maximize the money on each side if you're buying or selling. Yeah. And people say, why do I need a realtor? That's why you need a realtor. And
well, it was clear to me why you need a realtor when you go through the process. You know, if you want to maximize the goodies, you know. But beyond that, I wanted to.
It's okay.
You all right, dude?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good.
You can put it all in there.
Okay, cool.
There you go. I think this is from Pat Rose.
Oh, Pat
lives in Atlantic Beach.
Yeah, Pat. Thank you, Pat. Yeah, and that's another good thing about living here. We're changing. I'm jumping around the subject. If you want to bring it to
I want to jump around because I wanted to somehow segue back to John Lee Hooker and the blues that you and I have been kind of. I know you have a penchant for blues.
Oh yes, I love blues.
And from B.B. King and all that. All these guys. And I was introduced you to John Lee Hooker recently, and I wanted to get some feedback on that. And I sent you a song recently. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to it yet.
So what about Hook? What was the song you sent to me?
I sent you Ain't Gonna Suffer, but then there was Trick Bag.
Oh, Trick Bag. I listened to that a couple times.
Yeah.
One
bourbon, one scotch.
Yeah, and I listened to that with my sister in Georgia when I went up this weekend.
Oh, good.
I said, look, I told her we were listening to Hooker, and so I said, this is one song he sings. And I said, so I used to love to listen to him too, and she knew of the song as well, and so she pulled it up on her iPad or something and started playing it, and we went all the way through and sang the song together. Yes, yeah. Hey, Bob did. Yeah.
Not many people know about him. He doesn't get his credit. He's not,
I don't know why
he did actually play a gig with the Stones once. They brought him on stage.
Yeah.
And I mean, people in the know.
Yeah.
Know about him.
I like the Delta blues. I don't know where we heard it, but I think we grew up listening to it.
I mean, there was Muddy Waters, right? And
Right.
Kind of morphed into, to me, John Lee Hooker, and then B.B. King came on the scene.
Right.
And then John Lee Hooker kind of made another appearance at the end. And then right after that, after he died, shortly thereafter, B.B. King died. I had the pleasure of seeing B.B. King in New Orleans once we went to a jazz festival.
That had to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you
He's
what.
He's got a hell of a voice,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
His guitar player is very unique.
Yeah.
A lot like John Lee Hooker's. Right?
Yeah.
Very unique guitar player.
And very unique singing too.
Right.
But that's what I'm figuring out. Singing. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I love that kind of Delta blues. It just really moves you. I'm trying to think about another song that I just heard, but can't think right now. But we grew up listening to the blues. I think on WLS radio. It was out of Chicago. They had some hit song, like that's where Stevie Wonder first came about and all this. But it had to be through the radio because we listened to music on the radio then, So there had to be a station that came out of New Orleans. I don't know what I was going to say. The blues festival they have here has some pretty good talent.
And the jazz festival, man.
Yeah.
They have a jazz now I think it's 3 times a year during the summer months. Jack's Beach has that little jazz festival at the pavilion there, and that's it's always a pleasure. I mean, it's free, and you bring your own alcohol. I think at the Blues Fest maybe you pay for alcohol, but at the Jazz Fest you bring your own way out there.
That's another thing.
It's just another thing about this community, man.
I was thinking the same thing.
And it's really inspired me to I want to bring some people in here for some podcasts. Yeah. Just so everybody can know that the type of person that lives in this vicinity.
Cool.
If they're so inclined, whatever.
Yeah.
I know personally podcasts are starting. I was telling John over a couple of drinks at Ragtime. I think podcast, in this soundbite, we're in this soundbite day and age where everything is kind of fit into a 2-minute window or 140 character tweet or a short paragraph on Facebook or between commercials on the news, an interview, But the depth of conversation has been lost, and the art of conversation. And I think people are hungry for it, and I think people are. I think they're will. I know I am. I've been listening to some podcasts recently on the way to work since I've got a commute now, and I find it very enjoyable because you can get to a place in a podcast or in a conversation that you can never get to with media.
Yeah. It reminds me of when there was only the written word, and Tolstoy, Dostoevsky. Have you read of those books?
Yes.
Oh my God, it's like amazing what those men could say with words.
Scott Fitzgerald's one of my favorites. As far as poetry, Charles Bukowski, Henry Miller. Pablo Neruda. I have the writers that I particularly enjoy. You know?
Yeah. You named some people I've never heard of.
Hemingway.
Hemingway, yes.
Brute bravado type of guy. Shot himself at the age of 65, brother.
Yeah, yeah.
He said the world was no place for an old man, and he shot himself. But I think, in all fairness, Hemingway didn't have access to Viagra.
Yeah, but that's no reason to die.
Well,
I mean, please.
I'm just saying, though. I mean, it's a reason to live.
I mean, well, maybe. Yeah,
it could be.
It could be.
You come across the right honey.
Yeah, who knows, right? Who knows?
There's a B.B. King. Speaking of B.B. King, there's a B.B. King song where he says, "My baby's, she's my guardian angel." All right, that's the first line, and then he comes back and says, "I love it when she spreads her wings."
Are we being recorded here? Are we really? Oh,
yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea. But the one thing, another thing I really like about this, and then we can turn it off whenever you want to, but is that there's always something going on. I mean, and a lot of free stuff. You can find so much free stuff to do here. Music outdoors. I mean, the arts walk. I mean, this place is really golden. I never imagined that I would live someplace I like as much as I like living here.
America, Trump, the beach,
bikinis, little babies,
women.
Oh yeah.
Let's cover this very lastly. Dogs on the beach. How do you feel about them? What is your immediate feeling?
I think if you have a dog on the beach, you should have it on a leash, because I think some children are really afraid of dogs, and you never know when a dog might do something crazy. And I think that's one thing you should do.
So it's good the way it is now. Right?
I don't think you should just let them run loose, because not everybody's comfortable with dogs.
I think now they can't even be on the beach between certain hours, like 8 and 5 or something, right?
Well, I don't know what about that. That's probably when there's more children on the beach. They want to be sure that nobody gets in, nothing happens. But and I think I think they should be able to turn the dogs loose, let them run on the beach. If they're with them and you know it's later in the day when there's not as many people, they should keep within a certain distance. You know, I think that. And I think they should pick up after their dog. I see dog poop on the beach. You know, sometimes. Yeah.
No dog poop on the beach, brother.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think people here really love dogs, you know. And
everybody wants to bring their dog to the beach.
Well, I would if I had a dog.
Of course.
I don't have a dog, but I would. Yeah, I'd be.
When I had one, when I first moved here, I had an English bulldog. They went. And we used to go to the beach.
Yeah. Yeah.
He wasn't crazy about the waves, but
he didn't like it.
He was cool with it, but he didn't like to get close to the ocean.
He's something about
a bit of a chicken. I had another English bulldog one time named Buddha. This dog was fantastic. He would crash right into those waves, you know. And
Buddha.
Okay. Buddha.
He was at one with the ocean. I mean, one with the ocean.
One with the waves.
Yeah.
He would crash into things. He had no fear.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story about him.
Okay.
Hey man, thanks for doing this.
Well, thanks for inviting me on. It's my first podcast.
It's my pleasure. Maybe it'll happen again.
Well, who knows?
Who knows?
The friendship at the beach.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.